of maybe your scholastic record versus the options that it gives you?
No, I think what it means is that you've chosen a career that you know little about. So
Mm,
you haven't been told exactly what the pros and cons are of going into a certain career. Maybe you're a person that likes to work different hours. Maybe you're a person that doesn't like to do certain things, but you go into a career because you've heard it's quite cool, or you've seen it on TV, or I don't know,
mm,
your mom told you what might be a good idea. So you're sitting in a situation where now you're in this career, but you didn't realize that actually that's not who you are, or that's not what your skill set is.
mm.
So people are just sitting in the wrong places.
I see, I see. And would
Mm.
we then say, Stacey Ann, that this is in part because of a lack of information and exposure on perhaps, the possible career paths and the infinite possibilities that are there in various sectors?
Yes, correct. So what we do at the KMF Foundation is obviously we educate, we give education to disadvantaged high school learners, but that we found that gap so that they leave school and then they have no idea where to go. So we've put in all that effort and then they don't know what they're going to do with it. So
Mm,
we said, let's start really early on. Let's get in grade 9, let's start with psychometric testing. Let's get your grades right. Let's make sure you're choosing the right subjects for your career. And
mm,
then we springboard with things like pairing up with mentors. So we actually find the people that are professionals in their fields, and we say, listen, mentor this child for 6 months, 6 weeks, and tell them exactly what it means, the nitty gritty of being an anesthetist or an astronomer, or, give them that opportunity to understand exactly what it is, and then they can make an informed choice about their career path. But it does start early on, as early on as in school.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Mm, mm,
And for me, I think I'm just reflecting back as we talk one scholastic journey, and I'm reflecting back, and I don't know if things have changed much in as far as having to make those choices as early as grade
yes.
9 and grade 10. And I think at that point,
Mm,
you're not really exposed to the infinite options that are out there for you. We haven't even
absolutely.
touched the
Absolutely.
surface.
Yeah, and what we're finding is, there's a lot of pressure from family, there's a lot of pressure from society to go, oh well, you should be a doctor, you should be a lawyer. These are the professions that are seen, held in the highest regard, as it were. But
Mm,
actually, there's so much more out there. There's farming, there's astronomy, there's meteorology, there's marine biology. There's all these exciting, wonderful things. And if you don't expose them to that, then they're never going to look at it. They're always just going to go for the normal careers. I mean, even entrepreneurship,
mm,
even guiding them is to say, listen, why can't you start your own business? And they all, then the questions come up, which is what's so great. Then they go, but I'm scared because how do I get the funding? And I'm
mm,
this and I'm that. And that's where the mentorships and the guidance comes from places like KMS and Foundation. And
mm.
there's other people that do it as well.
Mm,
So it's so important to give them all the information,
mm.
because I mean, me personally, I can promise you I haven't ended up where I thought I would be, and it's only because I've been informed later on in life. But yeah, if I'd had a bit more influence earlier on, it would have been perfect. And that's why we do things like the career days, and we did a career expo recently where we had CEOs talking, and
Mm.
financial directors and people that have been in this job for a long time. And and then there was so much more inspiration flying around the room, to
Yeah,
say, oh, actually, I didn't even think of that. How do I do that? How do I get there? So
absolutely.
mentorships are incredibly important. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. As
Mm,
part of the sort of the data that I mentioned earlier, it also highlighted
mm,
that there's high incidences of educational mismatch in South Africa, with a quarter of
mm.
respondents being overeducated and 27% being uneducated for their occupations. So definitely
Yes.
mismatching on that perspective, and one might even say perhaps even a wastage of resources that could be better allocated elsewhere.
Completely. I mean, absolutely. It's like, and people forget about the smaller careers. They go, well, like I said, I've explained the sort of doctors
Mm,
and lawyers, but what about farming? What about going into, getting your hands dirty and learning about that kind of stuff? the 20%, 27% is probably the people that have gone to university, spent all that money, and then walked out of that and gone, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. But nobody's told them earlier on, this is what could have been. And I think, everyone at our career day said, I wish someone had told me this when I was, 15 years old.
Yeah.
27% overeducated and the rest undereducated. It's a need to get in there early on and to figure it out when you are younger.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one might also say, Stacey, and that yes, we've mentioned that there is a need to get there early on. There is a need to disperse information and for exposure. But in terms of just the elements that need to be in place to make sure that we minimize on the mismatch, what else needs to be part of this conversation, or what else needs to be done? At those sort of that sort of either the high school scholastic journey, the tertiary journey. I guess by tertiary could be a little bit too late.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So obviously we are an NPO, we are a foundation, we support a small amount of children. So I mean, if you ask me what we need, it's funding for the first part of it, but it's involvement from higher up professionals. It's for the CEOs to form groups to go, listen, how can we better impart our knowledge and our ways and skills on this younger generation? How can we help influence them? How can we get involved at the ground and work our way up with them? I think community involvement is so important. And what we found is actually corporate involvement has been so amazing. People are so willing to have career days within their institution to say, if a couple of corporates just opened their doors and said, look, we'll have you for a day, bring your scholars, we'll tell you what we've got inside the building and inside this operation, because you'll find there's so many different skills within, let's say, retail. There's marketing, there's HR, there's all sorts of things. And we literally walked out of a career day from a retailer knowing about 10 different careers, which they'd never even heard of, e-commerce and software development. And so I think it's involvement from higher up levels, certainly. And then obviously, foundations like ours, and there are so many of them, just making sure that they're exposed to the multitudes of paths that are aware of them and their career options. And mentorships, like I said, I think one-on-one mentorships with these children is so important, and they get such value out of it.
Absolutely. And speaking of the career day, you just held one, if I'm not mistaken, out in Cape Town.
Yes, we had a fantastic, it was our first career expo. It was the most beautiful, fantastic day. And like I said, we had the CEO of DHL speaking, we had financial directors speaking, we had a lady from Explore Mars who dialed in from the US. She's been dealing with NASA, and I mean these kinds of caliber of people, which we're so lucky to have that support us already. A lot of engineering, electrical engineering, chemical engineering. One of our scholars is now one of the first female chemical engineers studying at Stellenbosch. And we had such a variety of beautiful people presenting, and our scholars just walked out of there way more informed, and they were just crowding around all these speakers, just to get information from them, and they were so in awe of these people, and it was really, really great. And a lot of them have actually walked away with mentorships from those people. So it's been really, really great. And we hope to do many more.
And I think definitely the other level to this, as you speak about mentorship and having that early access and exposure, it's also in part that job experience that a lot of South African tertiary graduates talk about. Is if you can get into a system or program that fosters that through every level and every stage, that could be beneficial coming out of the tertiary system.
Completely. I mean, part of the program that we run is also tertiary support, not necessarily financially, but getting them into tertiary institutions, making sure they're meeting the grades. So it's a full circle thing. And then also, like I said, with corporate involvement, we also have corporates that go, okay, we're going to sponsor the child now. And then hopefully one day we can give them our tertiary support, put them into our tertiary program. And then one day they'll come and work for us, So it's a whole cycle, but you've got to get involved early. So it's it's that kind of support is invaluable completely.
Absolutely. And for
Yeah.
anybody that is looking to either get in touch with your program from a perspective of partnering with you guys, or get in touch with y'all from a perspective of having y'all come into their school, into their campus to do what you'll do best, what is the easiest way, or that they can get in contact with you to start that conversation?
Well, yeah, they can definitely get in contact with me. Obviously, our website is www.kmf.org.za, or they can email me at Stacey, Stacey, at kmf.org.za. And yeah, all the information's on the website, and they can just get in contact with me.
And then, lastly, Stacey Ann, is your program the KMF Career Day? Is it only run out of the Cape Town region, or is it a national program?
Yeah, so K Mason is the NPO. We work the Western Cape for now, predominantly. We'd love to expand, of course. But yes, we are Western Cape based. And then the Catapult program is the program that we run for mentorships and careers within the institution.
Okay, cool. Stacey Ann Moritz, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, marketing and fundraising manager for K Mason Foundation.